Hi, I'm Mark, VK5QI, and in this video I'm going to give you a demonstration of how you can get involved with our balloon flights by receiving our WebWenet imagery payload. So to do this, you're going to need a RTL SDR, software-defined radio. You're going to need an antenna for the 70 centimeter amateur radio band, ideally a 5-element yagi or more, though a vertical may work. And for best reception, you're going to want to use a preamplifier as well. Now, up until now, WebWenet has only been receivable using software that runs on Linux and OS X. However, recently, Michaela VK3FUR has written WebWenet, a web browser-based implementation that'll allow you to receive imagery like this from our balloon flights. So, WebWenet is available at wenet.sondhub.org, and you have to visit this site in a Chrome-based browser. So Chrome, Chromium, I believe Edge also works. Your browser has to support the Web USB API, so Firefox will not work. It's cross-platform, given it's browser-based, so it'll work on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It'll also work on some more recent Android devices and tablets. If you're running Windows, you need to install the WinUSB driver for your RTL SDR. You may have already done this. If you've used SDR Sharp or SDR Console with an RTL SDR, you've probably done it already. But if you haven't, you can use the Zadig tool available online at zadig.akeo.ie. And you download the tool and you get a little interface like this. And you look for an item in the list, this drop-down list called bulk in interface with interface 0 in brackets. You can check that it has 2838 in this second field here, and then you would click install driver and it would go away and do its thing. In my case, I already have the driver installed. So back to the website. Once you visit the site, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the configuration tab. On here, you can enter in your receiver call sign. In my case, I'm going to use my amateur radio call, though you don't have to use an amateur radio call sign. You can put in some details about the antenna you're using, and then if you want to, your station location. The rest of the settings leave at the defaults, particularly the upload to SondHub one, which you want to leave enabled. In the RTL SDR configuration section, the frequency is set by default for our Australian WebWenet frequency of 443.5 MHz. And here you can also change the gain settings of your RTL SDR. You can leave it on automatic gain control, or you can set a custom gain. If you're using a preamplifier that's powered via the coax or bias T, you're going to want to click the enable bias T checkbox here as well. In my case, I don't need that. We can then click start at the top left-hand corner. And then from this little pop-up window, we have to choose our RTL SDR device. Now, if nothing shows up in this, it means you probably haven't installed the WinUSB driver on Windows. We click on Connect, and we're now starting to receive some signal. This plot at the top here shows the received spectrum. In this case, there are two distinct peaks, which is our WebWenet signal. And the bar graph at the top is an indication of how overloaded our receiver is. So if I wind in too much gain, this will start to go red, indicating we're getting compression, overload, potentially degrading our signals. So you want to make sure that lives somewhere in the green. At the top left-hand corner of the screen, we also have this number. This is an indication of how fast processing is occurring. If this number starts to go red, we'll get a pop-up saying that the software can't keep up. We're probably going to be starting to drop packets as well. So you're going to start seeing gaps in the images. So now we're receiving, we can go to the receive tab and we can start to see imagery coming through, showing up in the center here. And this is coming through live, so we'll see it updating all the way. And when an image is finished, a new one will start to come through and we can see that populating here. This is about how fast it comes through during the flight. So pretty fast. We also have telemetry information on the left, which is positional information and other information like CPU temperature and load averages and disk usage on the WebWenet payload. And also we have a signal to noise ratio graph here. We require about 13 dB SNR for reliable WebWenet reception. There's also a few more tabs. There's a map showing where the payload is, though I would suggest that you use amateur.sondhub.org to see where the balloon is. There's also some logs, which is text messages coming down from the balloon payload. So you can see it going through a process of capturing images and then converting them and then transmitting them down to the ground. There's also some plots, though these aren't that useful. These show some information like altitude and the other parameters that we saw on the other tab. So there we go. That's how you can get involved in receiving WebWenet. It's really easy to do it. Just get an antenna, get an RTL SDR, and give it a go. Thanks.